All right, good morning, everyone. So glad you're here. Happy Monday. Listen, I want to read the story or this account out of Luke chapter 5. It says this, starting in verse 4, it says, When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. Simon answered and said, Master, we've toiled all night and caught nothing. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the net. And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their net was breaking. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came, and they filled both the boats so that they began to sink. Okay, this is really interesting. Jesus actually uses the boat as a platform to teach a large crowd on the side of the sea there, and then he tells Simon, go out, throw out your net, we're gonna catch some fish. And then Peter's like, hey, look, it's a bad day for fish, okay? But because you said it, I'm gonna do it anyways. And so he goes out and he does it, and then there's this massive amount of fish that he's catching. Okay, now this is all important. It's super important because the Lord is about to show something to Peter that he needs to know. But I think the thing that's amazing about this story is Peter's reaction, okay, to this. It says this, verse 8, when Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord. You know, I think there's some wisdom in this. Like, I love the attitude that is not entitled or not self-absorbed or all of that. The reality set in of what was happening. This was the Lord doing a miracle. And Peter is just saying, I'm a sinful man. His sinfulness was on his mind at that moment. It's very interesting that he came and fell down at Jesus' knees, it says here. So it says, verse 9, for he and all who were with him were astonished at the catch of fish which was taken. They were marveling at this miracle, and it strikes Simon, and he's just like, I'm a sinful man. I don't deserve this. I'm going to tell you, that attitude is completely correct. I understand wondering why certain things happen to us, but if we're going for what we think we deserve, understand that road of this is what I deserve, that leads you to hell, because that's what we deserve. It's such a bad attitude and such a bad mindset, especially to come to the Lord with when he has been so gracious. But so he goes on and he says, verse 10, it says, and so also were James and John. So all of these three were just shocked by this miracle. I found that people whose hearts are right with the Lord, that have seen or received a miracle or miracles have happened in their life, they have the same type of humility where they really say, wow, I just realized that I mean, who am I? That God would do this thing in my life. That's the attitude we should have. It's the attitude of just marveling at the goodness of God. But it says this. In verse 10, it says, and Jesus said to Simon, do not be afraid. From now on, you will catch men. So when they brought their boats to land, they forsook all and followed him. So Jesus basically gives them a clue. He says, hey, don't be afraid, because you're going to become a fisher of men. Basically, you're going to be preaching the gospel. That's what he's saying, okay? And the point here, the reason for all of these fish, and the reason why these guys just up and left, this was the Lord communicating something to them, that there were a ton of people that needed to hear the truth. Okay? And that Peter was going to be instrumental in reaching these people with the gospel. And so he was telling them, hey, look, don't be afraid, but things are going to change. And it is interesting when God calls Peter, he tells him right at the beginning, don't be afraid. But the fear that he has here is the fear that he's just messed up too much to be somebody God could use. And understand, that's just a total lie. It is such a lie. So when you look at this story of the catching of all of these fish, what we should see here is really one, I mean, the one thing that really stands out is this is the work of God. Okay? We are called to participate in the work of God, but we're not called to drum up the work of God or actually do it in our own strength. This is the work of God. This work of God is something that the Lord himself initiated, and he is directing these guys to do it. Okay? So we can take heart that, like, it's not about us so much, okay? We just need to respond like Peter in obedience. Okay, Lord, you say to do that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to step out there. And in his obedience, he learns something about himself, he learns something about the Lord, and his life completely changes. I mean, this is an amazing thing. When you realize God's showing you something and he's calling you to something, these guys literally left a ton of fish behind and just followed the Lord. And this was their livelihood. It was an astonishing amount, so I would say it would be a significant thing. But the gravity of the moment told them, look, we could catch fish, so what? When Jesus is calling us to preach the gospel, to save men from sin and death, the catching of fish, that's just, it's lackluster. Did you get what I'm saying? It's not that exciting compared to seeing men, seeing women, obviously, all turning to the Lord and experiencing eternal life. And so I think we can take these words to heart that Jesus said, don't be afraid. We don't have to fear that we're completely unusable. That's not true. We just need to be obedient to what he calls us to. Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll catch men. From now on, there's a new purpose in your life. The purpose is not that job or that career. Okay, God may call us to participate in jobs and careers and stuff like that. Fine. He might put us in that place. But what he's called us to is preaching and spreading the gospel. And that is a powerful, wonderful thing. So I hope that encourages you today. I hope you have a great day. Look forward to seeing you around this week. And may God richly bless you. Please leave a comment if this blessed you. Also, like and subscribe. And I'll catch you tomorrow.